Stand firm in the faith, act like men, be strong. In today's culture, that's labeled toxic masculinity. But Scripture reveals the truth. Strength rooted in love is biblical masculinity. Make your choice. Welcome back to the Choice Podcast.
Special episode.
Not a number, right, Josh?
Yeah, it's a little one-off.
Are we recording? Is this a YouTube one too? Oh, we're going on video. All right. And so, so no picking your nose, fellas. No.
Keep your pants on.
Yeah.
You have shorts on.
I do have shorts on.
First time ever on the podcast.
Yeah, first shorts wear happens to like steak in a bag. It's
It
no
happens
big
on a
deal.
day that we have snow.
We do have snow. How about that?
Straight from work.
And the gym.
And
That's
the gym.
manly.
And the gym. So
yeah, this is a special Forge Level 2 episode, Josh, because we've gone, if you go back to Season 1 and you're interested in the Forge, just a little, let's just catch folks up to why we're here and where we came from.
So
and
the Forge is different than the podcast.
That's correct.
It's different.
It'll have a different thumbnail, right, Matty B?
Yeah, so it'll look different on your streaming service you use or whatever. But the Forge is something that we do here, and it's kind of taken off a bit. It's now in several other churches, other communities.
Yeah, 3 or
other
3 to
states
5
even,
others.
right?
3 for sure. Yep.
Other states. How many other states are we in?
Oh,
the Forge.
Geez. Oh, the Forge.
Not we, but the Forge.
1, 2, and then we sent it to 2 other states. So 4 states, 4 confirmed, already have started or about to start in March. This is Forge men's Forge mentorship programs.
Yeah, so it's a men's mentorship program, but it's also for just a way for guys to get plugged in with other like-minded, believing guys.
Yep.
That's not your typical church stuff. Not that it's unbiblical. We just don't talk about brownie recipes and French country decorations.
You like brownies? Matty be sad. That was a sad womp womp.
It was.
Brownies.
I'm not
Heck.
mad about the brownies. I just don't care about cooking them.
Not,
that's
this ain't
all.
this isn't where we talked about them. Not at the Forge, Matthew.
Yeah.
Steak and cars, and you had a good one. Anyway.
Dogs.
Sometimes.
We do talk about dogs.
Speaking of dogs, by the way, so this is the guys to my right and left are dogs, donkey, jawbone, pipe hitters. What are you talking about? That was a good one. Give me a break.
Yeah.
We have to transition somehow. We can't go cold into everything. We reach. Matty B with all the power over here on the mixing stand. So,
right.
we got Forge. The Forge writ large is really just structure for men to get together and just do life with other fellas, right? Because we have established over and over and over again that the most important thing that men need to remember, fellas need to remember, is that you've got guys who've gone through the same thing, and you need to surround yourself with those fellas, right?
And they're going through similar things.
Yes,
currently.
and find the ones that are 3 a.m. friends and find the ones that won't even answer at 3 in the afternoon, the phone when you call. And that's
Figure
what
those out before you need them.
exactly right, because we established with the David episode and with Packy, you're in your prep time. You are now in your prep time to deal with things that you don't know are even coming.
That's right.
And so
You
the
need
dogs
guys that are going to honk when they drive by. That's what you need.
There you go.
There you go. We've made progress on that.
I honked the other day quite a bit. I know you weren't even home, but I was like, we're doing it anyway.
I would do the same thing for you.
Yeah.
And so my neighbors probably don't love it.
No, they must hate it because it's obnoxious.
Maybe they think it's for them. Maybe they think they're being friendly.
Maybe they're feeling like they got a friend all of a sudden. I'd be their
Because
friend.
I sure did. And he drove past at least 50 times and just kept going. Josh.
I don't do that now.
It's mostly out of pity. But anyways, we got 2 dogs with us, and so we're talking Forge tonight. But this is a Forge level 2. So go back to season 1, and you can read. No, you can't. You can hear all about Forge level 1. It's episode 2, 3, and 4. That's Forge intro, and then we got wrap up and preview, and then something else.
How do you remember these? I don't even know. They all just mold together in my brain.
Some of them do. But it's early on. Maybe it's just 2 and 3. But either way, it's early on, and you can go read it with the magic of technology. It'll tell you what that episode's about before you listen to it. And we got two guys to my left. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. One that represents Forge Level 1 stuff, and one that represents Forge Level 2 this year, okay? One that hasn't been through the program but is in it now. One that has been through the program and has reasons we have a Level 2, and he'll explain that. So let's start with our friend Ty here. Okay, he's now on the third episode. He probably is the most, of all the guests we've had, treated us most aggressively. But
I think he just walked in. He walked in very comfortable.
I liked it.
Yeah,
we need more.
It's out of love.
No, it is straight out of love.
It's out of love.
Yeah. We've made so here's the thing about your Forge groups, and you can do this as well. We've made the point that you don't have to get to men can argue and disagree and not have anything else. Like, they may not be anywhere near the same grid square as opinions on a topic, but then you'll get there and you'll duke it out proverbially or whatever. Some guys, we've talked about it previously, more than they literally duke it out. But then when you're done, you know what you do? Let's go golf. Yep. Let's go do something else. Like, we're over it, right?
Yeah.
It's just how we are. And I think love language is trash talk. That's what we talk about.
I agree with that.
Yeah. So Ty came in. We had a good time. This is third one. But Ty I'll let him introduce himself right now as our Forge Level 1 guy, Ty. Yeah. So introduce yourself to the fellas, if you will.
Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, welcome back.
This might be my last one.
No,
not complaints, but
not at all.
No. I appreciate you guys, and Eric, certainly you and Josh both appreciate your friendship, and thanks for actually inviting me into the Forge group.
Sure.
It was kind of your thought. Like, hey man, I think this would be really good. I think you'd enjoy it. Full disclosure, I don't go to here to Choice Baptist. I go to another church in Stafford, and so I think it's really good that there's a mix of additional churches and even different states, right?
Sure.
Like, I think that's important. So, how far back do you want me to go? Like, where I'm from, and
what do you? Well, you can, just a general intro.
Yeah,
as much as you want, 1 minute or so.
Yeah, grew up in North Carolina. Went to college in South Carolina to the Superior Military College. Since Eric's son is at the Inferior Military College, also known as Virginia Military Institute. Obviously, I went to the Citadel. Graduated from there. Went to the Marine Corps. Spent 8 years in the Marine Corps. Raw. Can I get a raw?
Hey, raw. Yeah. John's in the Army. He was in the Army.
Yeah.
So we remain silent.
We should argue about something else.
They start saying those things.
We should tag team up on those two.
We
can.
Teammates.
What do we want to talk about later? Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah. Hand-me-down equipment.
Yeah.
Fair point. We just do more with less.
Yeah.
More?
Yeah. So
better?
That's a whole nother episode.
I will say,
it's a whole
all credit to the
episode.
Marines. I believe the embassy in Karachi.
Did you see that video?
Yeah, boys did some work.
I believe
work is right.
You know what? Look, we learned the first time, when was it, 79 in Iran, when we would not let the Marine Corps do their job, and we saw what outcome
Jimmy Carter.
got. Thanks, Jimmy Carter. This time we had some commander in charge that said, boys, protect that embassy. And they
protect this
did.
house.
They did.
And listen, it didn't take but a few seconds.
Yeah.
It was over fast.
Like,
the fire started and they got out of there.
Yeah, in about 0.3 seconds, it was like,
Yeah.
oh, this was a mistake.
Yeah,
Not worth
real
it.
quick.
Those Marines changed the
It's
minds
a
of
graphic
those
video,
protesters
but
very
it's,
quick.
It's a reality.
Yeah, 100%.
And here's the thing. Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
But it's a graphic video, but here's the reminder, Ty, because you said earlier this is the first war on AI. I would also say it's one of the first wars with first-person footage because everyone's got a cell phone.
Oh, that's good.
Sure.
That's a
And
good
so
point.
you don't have it from the lens of.
So Vietnam was the first.
You don't
one
have embedded
televised,
reporters.
right?
You have people
This is
living the
first person.
experience
Yeah.
doing the thing. And that video didn't come from inside the embassy.
No,
that
it did
video
not.
came from the business end
Correct.
of those M4s.
100%.
That's right.
And when you see
Terrifying.
it was graphic. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you hear go pop, 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 and
It's a
then you
game
see them
changer.
scatter and start like dragging their boys, their
Well, there was 4 of them didn't walk out of there. They were carried out.
Yeah.
And there
drugs.
were several bloodied up as they ran.
Oh
Correct.
yeah, like dude, it
And
was.
I'm not
for
trying
real.
to celebrate
The whole point-
anybody's demise, but you know what?
Well, here's the point, Josh. Is because
You get what
this
you
is what I
get.
was going to say because this is a total rabbit hole. I don't care. This is worth it because what you got to think about is everyone's focusing on what, the people that you saw in the video, all this stuff. But here's the thing. For the Americans who watch that video, those are your boys and girls. These are your fellow young Marines. They're 18 to 22 years old, because the 35-year-old gunny probably isn't on the post. It's your corporals, lance corporals, and maybe a sergeant.
Those are young men, yeah.
20 years old, man. And they are put in a position, and you know what they did? They did the right thing, because they're defending the American embassy, so we don't have
sovereign soil.
And
It's
because of
sovereign
that,
soil. That's
things
right.
like the 1979 the embassy can't be taken over, and it doesn't change the outcome strategically in the region, right? And so but the point is, think about who's on the business end of this, scared to death, never fired around in anger. Now they have to deal with that. Back to what Packy said about the post-traumatic stress stuff and how you blame yourself. So you've got these 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-old kids who are now having to live with what they just did the rest of their lives, but they did the right thing because they were told to do it that way, and they followed the rule, and they protected the embassy.
Well,
tough.
We
always forget about the guys pulling the trigger.
It's tough, Eric, because think about this. In 2005, when I was in Iraq, I ran a THT, a tactical human team, and I had an 18 or 19-year-old gunner that was a gunner in my truck. And I'm the lead vehicle. I'm talking to this young man, and he said, Sergeant Myers, how do I know when I go from not shooting to it's okay to pull the trigger? And I said, listen here, specialist, I can't tell you when that moment is. I can tell you this. If you use your best judgment and all of your training and discretion, and you make the decision that you've got to pull the trigger, I will stand next to you and we'll go down together if that's what it comes to. But if you're waiting for me to tell you when, as I'm TCing the vehicle, by the time I tell you, it's too late.
100%.
The other problem is when you decide it's time, there's a high probability that it may not be the right time. I can't help you live out your life with either one of those decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to say you have the rest of your life to figure it out.
Yeah, that's what the military put on your shoulders at 19 years old. You walk through the rest of your life deciding, did those guys in my truck get hurt because I didn't act too soon? Or did I act too soon and someone else got hurt?
Yep,
and that's a lot for a young man or woman to carry the rest of their lives.
Sure.
So to those guys that were in that embassy protecting it in Karachi, my hat's off to them.
Well, that's a great point, Josh. And that's the segue here. And because while some guys have that kind of stuff to deal with or to work through, other guys have a million or a myriad of other things that they're needing to work through, which is the point of this of the Forge, right? Linking arms with fellows from different backgrounds, all having junk, whether it's having to pull the trigger in Pakistan or other things you've dealt with in your marriage, your job, your whatever, your faith. Linking arms and doing the thing, right?
I think
doing
that's
life together. That's the point.
Yeah, that's a really good kind of synopsis, right? Like, there should be nothing from our faith to how we parent as fathers, right?
Sure.
How we interact with other people at work. Like, you should never be doing that by yourself.
Yeah.
Like I can go ahead and tell you, if I was doing that stuff by myself, I would be probably broken in a ditch somewhere.
Yeah.
If I
that's a
didn't
good point.
have like
Packy
some
said he was.
trusted-
That's
yeah,
what he did. You'd
like-
find ways to cope that are probably not healthy.
Yeah, or just
Yeah.
like somebody that can just kind of like smack you on the back of the head and go, "Hey, dude, like I wouldn't do that." I'd go, "Did you think about doing it?" Just somebody that maybe there's somebody that's gone before you and has that experience to be able to kind of like, whether it's a mentor or an older brother or just somebody with the experience to be able to do that. And I think that's, for me, the way you described it to me, Eric.
The Forge Level 1 teams.
Yeah, the Forge Level 1 teams are this opportunity for a mix of guys who are in similar times in their life, who are going through similar experiences, whether that, we just met, my Forge group just met this past Saturday morning. Had some awesome breakfast. One of the dudes had pancakes the size of his face. Like, it was awesome, right? And so we're sitting there and we're having breakfast and we're telling stories, and it just so happens that the three guys in my group all have girls, right? They're girl dads. I am not. But I've got boys that are older. And one of the points that we made was, man, hats off to you guys who are girl dads, because that is like a challenge that God didn't see fit for me to execute, right? Like, for whatever reason. But as equally as you guys are raising up young women.
Yeah.
It's my responsibility as the father of two boys to treat those to teach those boys how to treat those women and how to be respectful of a woman and how to earn her respect and how to champion for her. So it's like this really cool moment to where we had that discussion just kind of out of the blue. We just got there and it kind of dawned on me. It's like, wow, all right, well, this is three guys with a different experience than I've had, but we're all saying the same thing. We're all kind of there meshing it together. And we did that in the course of an hour.
Yeah. How many of those guys had you met before that day?
Zero.
Zero.
I hadn't
guys?
met any of them, right?
None.
And there was like
How
an
about that?
immediate, yeah, it
That's
was a
amazing.
good
Yeah.
connection, good bond, and they're good dudes, right?
All
So
great dudes.
it's really easy to connect with guys that are good dudes and that are willing to kind of put it out there and talk about it. And I think, for me, that's a really good opportunity to. I love networking. Eric, you've known me long enough. Like, I love networking. I love meeting new people. I love talking to new people, having conversations, learning from other people. And so I think it's really a good opportunity to kind of get in the Word and figure out where you fall in the character traits of those men in the Bible and how can you fit into that kind of role, whether it's within your group or moving forward into Forge 2, like where you guys are at and like what direction you go, how you love on each other, how you can, be manly dudes and, talk through, be vulnerable and get some exposure on learning some new stuff. So.
I think that's great. I think a few things you mentioned that was kind of at the heart of the Forge. I guess now we're calling it Forge Level 1.
Which it didn't used to be. It became that this year.
It was just the Forge originally. And the idea was, like in my career through the military, I didn't have a mentor ever. That was a real big downfall.
That is interesting.
No mentor whatsoever.
Not even the sergeant major with a prosthetic arm.
I did have him. Well, he wasn't my sergeant major, but he was around. I wouldn't have picked him as a mentor.
He threw his arm down the hallway.
He did.
And about went to beat some juvenile
kids at a Hug a Thug program. Anyway, the point is,
that was a crazy episode.
Yeah, the point is,
it was.
I've fumbled through my career figuring it out, and I thought I was going down this road, and it seemed right, and it wasn't bad, but it was the long way to get to where I wanted. And then I finally ended up there, and I thought, oh, I really want to go this direction, and it had been quicker and much more proficient in developing skills had I had someone tell me, do this first, then this, then I still got those things, but golly, did I go the long way around? And that's kind of what you're saying, Ty, is talking to guys like you, the example you gave, guys who are raising daughters, talking about what their concerns are. Yeah, you don't have daughters, but you have sons, and you can sit there and say, hey, look, I'm listening to the heart of these dads who are raising girls. What's concerning for them as their daughters are looking for young men? I should talk to my boys about these things, and then at the same time, it's a chance for you to speak into them because we always hear, there's a big bone to pick for me. We always hear, guys, how are you supposed to act around women?
Sure.
What are you supposed to bring to the table? How do you honor her? Okay, I'm a girl dad and a boy dad. I know that I teach my boys, we respect women, we protect women, we protect girls, we protect those who can't protect themselves. That's what we do as Myers men. Okay, what am I telling my daughters? Do I ever talk to them about how do you respect your future husband?
So the key here is they're seeing. They're seeing by the way that you teach your boys and the way that you treat your wife. They're watching, they're seeing, and you're setting a standard that, and I think you've spoke to this before when it came to your son-in-law now.
Yeah.
There's
He's a Marine, by the way.
There's a standard now that she wouldn't have settled for less. She said, "This is the standard now. I won't settle for less," because she knows.
Right.
You make a good point when originally before I derailed us in the previous episode when we were going to talk about the mustard seed, right? The parable. I was thinking my way
another
through that.
episode that never made the air.
So
another time.
I was
Two for two.
I was thinking of that. Like, okay, what in my thought process? What is like? Where does that fit? Not only in my own personal life, but like with the Forge, like how does that blend in? And I think you're nailing it. It's that example, right? Like that's how you start to sow that influence. That's how you start to sow that seed. That's how you try and get that crop to grow, right?
Yeah.
Like your kids become that seed that you're planting because you're setting that example for them. They see you. My boys see how I treat my wife, right? Your daughters see how your wife treats you. It is all part of that process. And I think the last thing I'd say, just because it's near and dear to my heart, like I love talking leadership, and I'm not great at it by any stretch, but there's some things that I started writing down years ago about leadership, right? And I think it's a very abused and overused word without a lot of contextual meaning sometimes. I think there's a lot of implied things about leadership, right? And I think a lot of times people don't really understand what it means. Like, what is leadership from a direct, actionable, like, give me 4 words that are actionable things with leadership, right? So one of the I looked at leadership. This is years in the making, but I looked at leadership as like the table, right? You got a flat table. How many times have you sat in a restaurant with an out of balance table, and you had to take a sugar packet and put it underneath the leg of the table to kind of balance that thing out? In my opinion, 4 legs of the table, right? 2 of which I think you guys, Army, Marine Corps, Matty B, I think everybody would kind of understand that accountability and ownership have to be mutually supporting legs, right, within leadership. And this goes to the forge, right, as you're kind of thinking about how we can help one another, that being an accountability partner, taking ownership for our actions, whether you become vulnerable enough in a group like that, a group of guys, and say, hey, I kind of screwed this up, or hey, I didn't do this well this week or in my life or whatever, and kind of expose that. That's ownership and accountability. I think those always have to kind of be mutually supporting legs of the table. I don't care what side you put them on. But the other 2 that I don't think get talked about a whole lot, Josh, you sparked this kind of whole thought. This is off the cuff, but mentorship. And not just mentoring someone, you need to be mentored, right?
Barnabas, Paul, Timothy model, which is what the Forge is built off of.
Absolutely.
Exactly right.
Spot on.
Yep.
Right? So that mentorship piece, I would make the argument, is the most important leg of the table. And I think, leg diameters can shrink and get bigger, right? Can you put more weight into one spot on the table? Just don't let it get unbalanced, right? You can make one a little bit bigger if you need to, but I think they have to be mutually supporting, right? And that mentorship piece is I think, one of the biggest legs. You got to be able to stack stuff because you need somebody to help you.
Yeah,
you need somebody to guide you, right? And then the last thing, it's my own thing. If anybody ever says it, they stole it. Competition. And I'm not saying competition to beat somebody. I'm talking about competition to be as good as somebody. Who's your competition spirit animal, right? Who's the guy that you look at and go, man, that dude is unbelievable. I need to up my game to be as good as him, right? And so I think if you can think of that, maybe that's something that I kind of thought about for my Forge group to kind of talk through with the guys, since the mentorship piece is very important. I just want to share that with you guys because I think it's a really good way to think about it.
Yeah,
I
do like it.
It kind of goes to, and it's a good tie-in for me, by the way, John Gentile, if you guys haven't
Johnny G.
listened to my
John the Gentile.
Yeah, my previous episode. But it ties in, like we were saying, with the modeling and everything, and this ties to.
It was when we argued about skinny jeans for a long time.
We did, yeah.
The reason why I wanted to do level 2,
we didn't ask you that question.
I was thinking about leveling up. So with my Forge group last
So
year,
Ty is in Forge level 1 this year, first time. He's kind of talking through the value of it to him, which is fantastic. John has been through the Forge as for a season, and now he's thinking, man, this is great. I want to scratch more of the itch. And so this is where we are.
And the thing is, I went through with, some great men of God. This was 2 deacons and a ministry leader. These are
Heavy hitters.
Heavy hitters.
Yeah.
Donkey jawbone.
I'm thinking to myself, that's the model. That's the competition. That's that next level. And how do I get there? What do I do so that I can be in that position and start feeding down into others? And that's where, this level 2 thing just, it hit for me, So I say, how do I get that? Well, what do you need? You need wisdom, right? You need wisdom to be able to pour into other people. And who was the wisest man?
Well,
Solomon.
Solomon, right? And what did he write? That
Proverbs.
And that's the big key to this level 2 here.
Let me throw something out there for you, because you both mentioned wisdom, and I think this is key. If you've listened, I've probably said this here before, because I really like this. The thing about wisdom, there's a difference between this people call wisdom, young guys, me included. It's like my knowledge I saw when I was 25 as I'm like, oh, look, this, that is wisdom. I know the things. I've done the thing once, okay? I've done everything, quote unquote, once. I know things. I'm wise. False. There's a difference. Picture this. Two sides of a stream, okay? Two sides of a river. On one side of one bank, you've got knowledge. On the other side, you've got wisdom. They're not the same. Mm-hmm. And there's a bridge that connect those two things, those two ideas, knowledge and wisdom. And that bridge is called experience. And so the way that you get from knowledge, because you start at knowledge, you got to know, like to your point, you got to be accountable. You got to acknowledge where you're at and know where you're starting from and start to live that life experience with the baseline knowledge you came from. But every step you take across that bridge, you're gaining a little more experience and a little bit more and a little bit more. And by the time you get to the other side, you have seen where and the way you get to wisdom is because you've seen where you come from and you apply it, right? And that's the point of these mentorship teams before we get to level 2. And that's the refining part, which you're going to talk about, is you're paired up with fellas that, because you're a knowledge guy, or you could be a wisdom. A Barnabas, well, a knowledge guy would be a Timothy, but a Barnabas is the wise one, and a Paul is somewhere on that bridge of experience working it out, okay? But pairing up a Barnabas, a Timothy, and a couple Pauls to be like, let me lean on you, Barnabas guy. I'm a Timothy in this area, but I may be a Barnabas when it comes to raising children through college, but he's a Timothy when it comes to raising girls. But there's still some things that could apply. So you could be one or the other, but you are leaning on others' experience.
Well, I think
so you're not making the same mistakes.
That's the beauty of the Forge, is you've got a group of guys that come together, and you're all going to have areas of your life where you're more experienced in, and other guys where maybe they're not as experienced. And some guys, it might be you're very well versed in the word. Some guys, it might be new to them. Yep. Some guys, it might,
it's
might
probably complementary if the groups are done right.
Yeah, it might be how to take care of my car or my family or my home. And it also gives another guy who's a little weak in that area to say, hey, how do I fix this water heater?
Yeah.
This thing's leaking constantly or whatever it is.
If it's Josh, it's
a well pump.
Yep.
Stupid well pump. But
yeah, but that's it. So yeah, that's good. And John, so talk us through. So you've been through Forge 1 and you're like, I just need, how did you feel? Like, why did you want to go a little bit more? What were your thoughts?
Well, yeah.
Competition, challenge?
Yes, absolutely. It was, looking at that level of experience, and I feel like I got a lot from those guys, and I was just, okay, how do I return? How do I give back? And feed into the next group. It's something you got to, cycle this through, right? So I had gone through and done it, and then this opportunity came up, and that's the drive. It's okay. Now I want to be at that next level so I can start, pouring into others.
I think that's great. I do think all of us at this place in life should be looking and answering two questions. You should be able to answer them. Who is mentoring you, and who are you mentoring?
Absolutely right.
We all should have one of each.
For sure.
We should have somebody that's, hey, I can call this guy if I need help with this. Mm-hmm. And also, who's that young guy in my circles? Maybe he's not actually younger in age, but he's younger in experience in this area or that area that I can pour into. And we should all be having one of each of those.
Yeah, and for multiple areas, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. And I would say to your challenge point, Ty, and to your competition point, and to what you're getting at, which is where I'll lead us into what Forge Level 2 is. But sometimes the competition isn't external. Sometimes the competition's internal.
For sure.
And so back to he said about accountability and acknowledgement, there's an emotional intelligence element of this thing where you got to sometimes if you're looking to grow, and that's the experience, that's the bridge thing from knowledge to wisdom. If you're looking to grow and those steps each cross that bridge is deliberate, you're taking them. Your action happening is you're doing something. You're not just floating to the next to wisdom. You've got to take one step at a time to get there. But your competition sometimes is yourself, and that's healthy. And that's where the accountability and personal accountability and emotional intelligence, EQ, comes in. I think, because where was I last year and what was I able to do? And so I could do this, and this is where I could do things better. This didn't go so well. How am I going to pivot and adjust and do a little bit more, a little bit better, a little bit more efficiently this year be men's leaders, right? Grow the men's ministry. We brought John on. He's a leadership team with us now, right? Lead my wife better. Raise my kids. Maybe it's a thing at your job with the folks you work with, right? Assess yourself where you've come from so you know where you need to go. Yeah. And that's part of that's you competing against yourself.
That's good.
And looking at where I was and just trying to do a little bit better and different. And that's the first point of Forge Level 2. So Level 1 is a monthly meeting with the fire teams that Ty was talking about, with Barnabas, Paul's, and Timothy's mixed in to just try to fellowship, do life, get some experience, wisdom spoken into you. So Level 2 is I'm going to try to do something a little deeper and different. And so it's not an every month thing. Level 2, and I'm now looking at the cameras that I assume is on, is Forge Level 2 is it takes 6 months to get it, but it's only a 4 active month program. And it's broken up, wisest man in the world to live, according to scripture, with Solomon. And so why not go through what the book, The Wisest Man to Live, had written, and that's Proverbs. And so the way that Level 2's set up is is 31 Proverbs, so 31, one for each day of the month. You're going to go through one proverb a day. You're going to write down something that stood out, and you're going to write down something you can apply. And then there's a second element that we added to it. I remember it might have been you. That's you're going to spend up to 5 to 15 minutes in prayer with that afterwards. And so that's the structure skeleton. But here's the specifics. So 4 months, 1 month on, 1 month off. For us, it's April, June, August, October. All right. So you're not getting burnt out. And you can do it in your own quiet time. You can do it in the car on the way to work. You can do it anywhere. So we heard a sermon. I mentioned his name before, Pastor Tony Evans.
Yep.
Out of Dallas.
Yep.
The best sermon I've ever heard. It was talking to men, but there were men and women in attendance. He said, look, when you're talking about getting yourself right and getting the community right, he's like, you have to start as men. It's like buckets or concentric circles that overflow. You've got to start with, everybody's like, where are you going to start getting yourself right? Go to church. Go fix your family. False.
The last podcast when I was here, if you remember, I drew that down and talked about this, the social ecological model.
That's a big word for Army guy.
I know, right? And that's why I messed it up. But same thing, the concentric circles.
Yeah.
You start with yourself.
Yes. The first thing you got to fix isn't your marriage or your church. It's yourself. You got to get that right, John.
That's right.
And then after you get yourself right, what do you got to get right?
Then it's your marriage, your family,
right,
your small community.
And then when you get yourself and your marriage right, it's like your bucket overflows into family. You fill that up. Your bucket can overflow into what?
The church.
The church. And then once that's filled up, what's next?
The entire kingdom.
Well, the community, right? And then it goes on. Tony Evans went on to state, country, world, essentially. Right. So, or city, state, country, world. Mm-hmm. And so that's the point. And that's the way the Level 2 Forge is set up. Month 1, you're getting yourself right first. Let's get that sorted out. So you're for the Level 2 guys that on April 1st, they're going to go through Proverb 1. Okay. And on April 2nd, Proverb 2, then the 3rd, so on and so forth. By yourself, you're going to have a chat group with your Forge Level 2 team if you want, but there's no requirement to meet with them. They're there for just to kind of bounce questions off of or whatever, or the accountability.
Yeah.
Back to what you're saying. Mm-hmm. You're gonna month 1, you go through Proverbs by yourself every day. 1. All right, read it, circle it, apply it. And then when you're done with that, you're gonna take 5 minutes, and there's a couple prayer prompts, 5 to 15 minutes. And the first one is, "Seek in me, O God." And that's where you start. And then you spent 5 minutes to 15 minutes just kind of praying through that proverb and how it spoke to you.
And man, I think anybody can use that anytime in their life, whether you're in Forge level 2 or whether you're not even in Forge at all. I mean, I'm sitting here listening to it thinking, I should probably do that again now.
I can't wait to start. I'm just like, well, I'm doing it in April. I'm not going to read now,
Yeah.
And I did it. I actually went through and said, because if I'm going to create this, or we are going to create this, we got to see what it's like to do it first, and that way we can speak on it. Let me tell you this. A couple weeks ago, prior to the Forge kickoff, I did that. I was like, let me see how this works out and if it needs tweaked. Man, let me tell you, it spoke to me, number one, but the one thing I was most curious, I'm like, how will the 5 minutes of prayer look like? Will that be awkward silence? Will it be, I've run out of things to say? Well, what will that look like? And you know what? Like, when you ask the Spirit to show up, shocker, Josh, guess what happens?
He shows up.
He shows up. And so when you say, seek in me, and he's like, oh, you asking for this? I got you. Like, I'll fix some things.
Yeah, I'll point some things out.
I set a timer for 5 minutes just so I was like, it's off to the side on the phone. Honestly, when it went off, it actually like caught me off guard. And then I'm like, oh, I'm not done. I just stopped it and just kind of continued on. I couldn't tell you how long it was for. It probably wasn't longer than 15, but it was definitely way more than 5, because for guys that haven't done that, give it a shot. It will happen more naturally than you think. That's what I'm saying. And so anyhow, that will repeat every day for 31 days or 30 days in the month. And then you'll take
it. Really spoke to me too. That discipline factor of doing something every single day. That you're just driving. Like, this will be something I'm doing every day for this entire month, and you're just building that discipline and building that habit.
Yeah, I love that too personally. I've said it here on the podcast before. I love self-discipline, not in like some weird way, but to say, I'm doing this. This will be a part of my routine every day.
You're competing against yourself every day.
And it feels good to be purposed. I find when I'm not doing that is when I get in trouble or I get lazy and I just kind of feel like a big old waste. Like I'm like, where did that hour just go to? Or where did this? I had this time. I didn't follow my discipline track or whatever I planned. And then it's just wasted time. It's like, I love to make things more efficient. I love to be more driven and disciplined and squeeze more out of everything I do. I feel like when I don't do that, I get derailed so fast.
Yeah, that's true. And then for guys are like, if you're a believer, we probably ought to be asking ourselves, what did I do to advance my faith today? Every single day.
Yeah,
and for that month, you won't have a question. You'll know.
Kick in the pants, too.
Yeah, it is.
That's the Matthew 28.
That will wake you up real quick.
Yeah.
And so that's month 1, is you go through it yourself. Month 3, which is you take a month off, you come back. So remember we said the concentric circles. You got to get yourself right. And then when you get yourself right, which is the book of wisdom, right, Proverbs, you got to get your family right. So month 2, you grab your wife or your kids or both, and you go through it as a family or a couple. And what that looks like probably is, day 1, like if we're going through it together, right, we're brothers, we'll say. Day 1, Ty's like, I got Proverbs 1. I'll give you my feedback. Y'all can chime in, okay? Y'all doing prayer things you can pray together, pray on your own. You set it up in your family how you want to do it. Day 2, I'll give you my feedback. You all chime in. You can pray together as a family, pray on your own, 5 to 15 minutes or whatever. And we just go through until we get to 30. You just take turns giving the thing. Then that's for that month. Take a month off. Then on the third iteration of it, then you're going through the same thing with other fellas from the church. 3 from your fire team, 3 from a different one. Okay? Now you're doing the church thing for a month in Proverbs the same way, but now you've gone through Proverbs 3 times, and when that's finished, what we're doing here at Choice is we're teamed up with the boys from Freedom. 3 dudes from Choice, 3 dudes from Freedom are going to go through Proverbs again, but you'll have completely different perspectives because like we talked about, Scripture is alive and active, Josh. It's the living word. It's not the lived word. It's the living word. That's active, that's present. Meaning, when you go through Proverbs, Ty, every single time you read Proverbs 1 4 different times, it will probably
hit a little different.
Exactly right.
It's going to hit a little different.
Because you'll have the experience of before going through it and different life circumstances and what different ways to apply it. It's living and active, Josh.
Oh, yeah.
Not
100%.
lived and dead. It's
right.
here now.
That's right.
That's it. That's level 2. 4 months separated by 1 month. Take a knee. Take a knees in the middle, and self, family, church, community. That's what it is.
I think you can't help but grow from something like that. I mean, Proverbs is the book of wisdom. There's something in there for everybody in every chapter, and you're not going to help but grow from that. I think going back to those concentric circles, you're going to be better equipped to lead your family when you've gone through that. Because you're getting your own house in order, so to speak, yourself in order before you're trying to pour into somebody else. And that's the model we're using here that we're talking about. Work on yourself, work on your family, work on your community, your local circle of friends, and then continue to push that bucket out further and farther, or push that circle out further and further. If you skip that first step, and your life's still full of a bunch of junk, and you haven't got your own house in order, you're going to have a real hard time having a conversation with somebody else, getting their life in order.
Right.
I think the other part of it too goes back to one of the things we talked about was like setting the example. Like if you're doing that for a month, like my boys are older, right?
Mm-hmm.
But obviously even your wife, like if you don't have kids in the house, right? They can't help. I mean, there's going to be a point in time in that 30-day period that you're running through that. Like I was sitting there playing it in my mind, like, yes, somebody in my house is going to see me doing that. Mm-hmm. And at some point in time, somebody's going to go, what are you doing? What you got going on over there? Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden it comes full circle in month 3 with the way that and when you're doing that with your family, it's like, hey, what I was doing, like I told you, I was, doing my daily reading and I was spending my time in prayer. Now we're going to do it together, right? Yeah. And so it kind of becomes a model.
Oh, now let's go. I'm getting fired up.
Does that make sense?
I'm excited.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like
I am excited.
You can't if you're in that and you're doing that and you set that up, short of you doing it at 3:00 in the morning when nobody else is around, right? But at some point in time, there's going to be some type of observed example.
That's what I like to call
what we talked about in the beginning.
It will pour into you once you're going through that on a daily. Even if they don't see you're reading and you're praying, they're going to see your behavior.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, and I've got a great friend called me 2 years ago, and grew up Catholic. Went away from the Catholic Church. We were in the Marine Corps together, and we kept in touch. He was my first XO when I was brand new platoon commander, right? And we kept in touch, and
quality dude.
Great, absolutely great guy, right? Great guy, and he called me out of the blue. Long story tolerable. He found Jesus, actually from a podcast, nonetheless, from the Unashamed podcast. He saw a YouTube video. He starts going down the road and like literally breaks out the King James because that's the only Bible he could get his hands on. I'm like, brother, let me help you out.
Not even the new one.
Yeah,
it's a little hard.
James.
Yeah, I got on Amazon and made him a delivery the next day, right? But my point is, about 3 months into his journey, we talk again, and he's committing. Right?
And that's a good word, journey, because doesn't happen overnight. Now I'm a believer. Everything's cool. I'm going to heaven. We're done.
Yeah, no, it's like
that
I'm gonna keep walking.
You have to.
Yeah. And so,
process.
It's process, right? And so we're talking, and his kids who are older said, "What's your deal?" Like literally, like one day out of the blue, like, "What's your deal?" And he was like, "What do you mean?" They were like, "You're acting different."
Notice change.
His wife says the same thing. Like, yeah, I've kind of noticed, like, you're not as like short and angry. Like you kind of, and so we have this, continued discussion about all this. Talked to him the other day. It's crushing it. It's doing great. But it is a definitive example based outcome. Right? He set the example. Good. They observed it. they saw him doing it, and now they're seeing a visible, marked change in him as a dad, as a husband, even at work. He's a career fireman now after he got out of the Marine Corps. So it's very applicable to what you guys are saying. I think it sets up really well.
That's really good, and I would say, how many examples did we have from last year from the Forge? The first year we did it, it was even in my own house, and other wives of guys that are in the Forge saying, I don't know what's going on in the Forge, but my husband needs to go to the Forge.
Yeah.
And I can tell when they've kind of gone for a while, because it keeps them accountable. One of the 4 legs of the table you were talking about, it keeps them plugged in, and another man who I respect keeping me on task, saying, hey, are you doing this? How's it going? How are things? It's all right to slip. It's all right to make a mistake.
What do you mean, all right? Expect to.
Yeah.
You will be fighting demons that are going to, enemy, is going to give you reasons not to do it every day.
Well, that's your subconscious firefighter talk that you always say, that you don't take the rounds until you're over the X.
Yeah.
When you're taking off from that friendly base,
you ain't get shot at.
Nobody shooting at you.
You wait when we're near the target.
You get over that,
Joel.
You get over
Joel.
that.
Poor
Get
guy.
over that X.
That's a whole different episode.
Yeah.
You get over that X, you're going to get some rounds coming in. You should expect it.
We love Joel.
But to have some guys to call you out and say, "Hey, are you still on target?"
Yeah.
And you're right, Ty. Your family, your wife, your kids, they're going to know. I almost said your wives, but we're not Solomon with 700, 300
goodness.
concubines, whatever.
Well, beyond that, it goes back to what are you eating daily? Because what you
Steak.
Yeah, that too. Like what you eat actually food wise is going to determine the makeup of your body, right? What you ingest into your brain, right? I talked about some episode ago about, listening to the conservative talk radio on the way to work when I was 20 some years old, and it made me more edgy, agitated, all those things. But like this is the first thing that you are taking on board every day is scripture and wisdom.
Ooh.
It has no other option than to have an impact in your life, a positive impact that's related to scripture and wisdom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you listen to angry music on the way to work, you'll be angry. If you listen to classical music, then you're a loser.
You'll be
I'm just
classical.
kidding.
You listen to this
You're
podcast,
a weirdo.
You're a weirdo. I'm just kidding. But seriously,
listen to this podcast, you'll be confused. And
Exactly.
But you'll understand dogs.
Yes.
But what comes in will come out. And the same goes through, for scripture and the word. And so, when you're establishing habits every day where you're taking on the board, you're establishing habits, which is what you said in reading scripture, which isn't a bad thing. If you ask the Holy Spirit to show up, he will, shocker, and you're going to see change that he just mentioned in your family. And oh, by the way, you're going to go into every single day better, Josh.
Absolutely.
Like what you said, just because you're doing it, you will have a better mental start to your day every day, because this is where you're at. When you start your day with 15 minutes in scripture, you're telling me that won't make a difference in your life?
Oh, absolutely. Without a doubt.
And nobody's asking for the world. This is 30 and 15 minutes, boys.
And listen, you read that first chapter on day 1, that first chapter of Proverbs, and you have that first few minutes of prayer time afterwards, that first 5 minutes. If you got nothing else to say, just say, hey, God, what's one thing I can change in my life to improve my walk with you? And just be quiet. I will bet you $1. I'm not a betting guy. I work way too hard for my dollars. I will bet you $1 within 30 seconds. You will know exactly what that one thing is.
And here's exactly right. And here's a takeaway. This is verse 7 in Proverbs 1. Because the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge or wisdom. Mm-hmm. And fools but not doing it is because fools despise wisdom and instruction.
That's right.
So the only reason if we don't do this, it's really just a fool's game. Mm-hmm. It's because you don't want to, and you're afraid of what's going to happen. And you know what we talk about with fear, Josh? That's a tactic of the enemy.
It is.
And he's winning. He's winning. You're like, I'm afraid of what the outcome will be. What will my boys say if they see me reading scripture and praying in solitude for a month? What will my wife say? Will she say, you're kind of being weird or different, right?
No,
all
I'll tell you what
that's
she'll
fear
say.
tactics.
Ask my wife. She'll like, hey, look, you know what? I'm sitting here thinking she likes it when I work out. She likes bigger arms. No, she doesn't. She doesn't. She'll tell you the most attractive thing in me is when I'm walking with the Lord.
There we go.
So I don't know. I don't know where you guys are at. I know where I'm at. I'm trying to attract my wife.
Yeah.
And she wants, she wants me to work out, I'm sure, but she wants me to work out the spiritual muscle.
Well, she wants you to work in.
There you go.
That's it.
There you go.
And I think the other really good thing that I'm taking away from this is the direction. Like I do the get up and you get a daily verse and you get into the word, but I never know where to go. I'm like, well, maybe I'll Old Testament today. Maybe I'll New Testament today. I'll jump around. This is intentional. There's direction.
Yeah.
And I truly love that. So I'm really excited to start this. April can't come soon enough.
I know. I'm like every day, I'm like, I could do Proverbs today. I'm like, no, I'm wait. All right, but with that, that's overview of this episode. This was a special one-off. Doesn't have a number. It will be available. So I don't know where it'll fall in the category, but you'll find it. Forge Level 2 and what it is, right? We did an overview of Level 1. We talked a little bit about where it's grown from, and Ty talked about what Level 1 means to him and his team and how it goes. And John the Gentile, talked a little bit about why he went through Level 1 and said, you know what, I'm ready for a little bit more. And so what does more look like? Forge Level 2, what we just said.
There you go.
And that's it, Josh. And so our good friends Ty and John, we appreciate you guys jumping in.
Thank y'all for coming in. Thank y'all, guys.
Appreciate it.
You got any parting words for the fellas, you two?
If you guys are listening to this and you don't have a forge where you're at, reach out. We got the template. We'll figure it out. We'll get you guys started.
There you go.
Well said.
That's a mustard seed. We can grow it as far and wide as we can possibly do it.
Mustard seed. How about it? Yeah, and you can get a hold of us the same way you always can, the Choice Podcast Show at gmail.com. You can hit us up on Facebook and send us a direct message. Those are the two main ways I'd recommend. You can leave a comment on YouTube. If there's any comments there, I haven't found them yet or checked them. But we'll probably get an alert. And so, just find a way to get a hold of us. Email's easiest. The Choice Podcast Show at gmail.com. We check it daily, and we appreciate hearing from you guys. Josh, what do you got on the backside here?
I think that's it. I think I'm excited for this second year of the Forge. I'm just as excited for the first year Forge guys as I am for the guys going into Level 2. I think it's exciting. It'll be a fun time. Looking forward to it. Trying to hold myself back for Proverbs.
Yeah, heard that. All right, remember this, friends. Remember the world. Follow trends. Men of the faith. Follow truth.
Make your choice.